Draft season continues to roll along, and now there are reports of players that have been into TCO Performance Center Bar and Grill having a pre-draft visit with the Minnesota Fighting Vikings. Darren Wolfson, as well as our guy Will Raggets, have been doing great work finding out some of these names, and they're super interesting because a lot of them mid-round guys, day 3 guys, but certainly could play a role with the Vikings going forward, and we wanted to talk about the 6 that have been reported as of right now today. So at the top, Marcus Jones. I like Marcus Jones. In fact, I love Marcus Jones. He is one of the more interesting and intriguing players in this draft because cornerback-wise, whatever. It's a pretty solid cornerback class, and you're not drafting Marcus Jones to be your number 1 cornerback. What you're drafting him to be is Dante friggin' Hall in terms of being a fantastic punt returner. Now, the Vikings do have an opening at punt returner because D.D. Westbrook, bye-bye. KJ, that wasn't his gig, and plus if he's going to be a wide receiver 3, don't really want to trot him out there. But Marcus Jones was electric for the Cougars as a punt returner, and hell, I'm selling him short as a cornerback. I think that he... pun intended, because he's 5'8", $174. He's a solid, scrappy slot cornerback, but I think that you're mainly drafting him because of his punt return prowess, and everything you get from cornerback is just a bonus. So I think that he could be in the 3rd round range when the Vikings select in the 70s. So maybe that makes sense. Now, Cole Strange is an intriguing name because his draft stock has been skyrocketing up ever since he tested, ever since he played fantastic at the Senior Bowl. I think that he's firmly worked his way into the day 2 conversation, and you do see there always seems to be a run near the top or top half of the 2nd round on interior offensive linemen. I think Cole Strange might get caught up in that. If the Vikings want him, I think they might have to swing at him at 46, but he's 6'5", 307, absolute athletic freak, 86.3 PFF grade last season. Only 13 career pressures and 1 sack allowed. That is it. That is it. I think if the Vikings drafted him, even in the 2nd round, I don't think that you automatically pencil him as a starter. But he could come in and compete. He could play some center. He can play some guard. So he's a really intriguing player. Tay Martin. Oh, why do you need wide receivers? Kirky needs a tall receiver. 6'3", $186, 80 catches, 1,046 yards receiving, 10 touchdowns last year for the Pokes at Oklahoma State. Good quickness, solid route runner as well. I think that Tay Martin would be a really solid addition in the mid-rounds. And then you got linebacker Darien Butler, Arizona State University. Now, for the Vikings recent years, they have put a premium on athleticism as well as coverage ability. Eric Kendricks is a prototype. And then you look at Chad Surratt, and then you look at Troy Dye, then you look at Blake Lynch as well. And the Vikings, I mean, even though brand new regime, coverage linebackers are going to have a role in today's NFL, especially as more move tight ends become en vogue and more teams are just spreading it out. Having a linebacker that can still hit and still is capable of tackling as well as covering is going to be very key. Plus, linebackers, tight ends, linebackers, usually contributing a lot on special teams. And Darien Butler, I think, is going to be a fantastic one in that regard. He's only 5'10", 221. He was very lightly recruited because he's a little bit of a sawed-off guy, but undersized coverage linebacker, 3 interceptions, 43.3 quarterback rating when thrown out last season. He can play. Kid's a great leader as well. At minimum, he will be a phenomenal special teamer, maybe with a chance to rise up. And then you got Esezi Otomewo of the Minnesota Golden Gophers. The other one, the other fantastic edge rusher. Boye Mafe is probably... I think that he could sneak into the 1st round. I think that he could. But Otomewo, 6'5", 282, rock solid. I think that he could be a very nice fit at that 5-tech spot, playing defensive end in an odd front. 7.5 career sacks, 13.5 tackles for loss. Honorable mention, Big Ten this season. Just has size, has strength. Has got really great potential going forward. And then lastly, so Cameron Goode coming out of Cal. Bears, the only Bears that don't make us vomit. And Cameron Goode, he's good, and he's really intriguing because he is a true blue stand-up rushing outside linebacker, which the Vikings are transitioning to. Makes some sense here. 6'4", 262, just rocked his pro day, had a 39-inch vertical leap, just an insane, explosive athlete. Career 38 pressures, 6.5 sacks this season. 38 pressures, 6.5 sacks this season, 20.5 sacks for his career. Had 9.5 back in 2019. So he can get after the quarterback, and he does play a premium position of stand-up outside linebacker. Again, you can never have enough guys who can get their ass after the quarterback, so it's exciting. And you always have to take these pre-draft visits with a grain of salt. Generally, teams who are locked in on a prospect, they won't really bring them in because I think it's tipping their hand too much. But what a lot of teams usually do, and what the Vikings did under Spielman, and it looks like they're doing with Kwesi, is that they're starting the due diligence on some of these mid-round guys, back into day 2, day 3, even some priority UDFAs. And some of the premier players, most teams have already gotten to know them with their interviews at the combines or informally at the Senior Bowl, at pro days, etc. But again, it is intriguing. I would love to go back, and I'm too lazy to do this, but go back and because these used to be top 30 visits, right? And go through who came into Winter Park, who came into TCO, and were they acquired by the Vikings? Were they drafted by the Vikings? But who knows? But yeah, Marcus Jones, intriguing. Cole Strange is a stud. Cameron Goode. Yeah, man. But your thoughts are our thoughts. Take a look at the Vikings pre-draft visits so far. Let us know your thoughts on our thoughts in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. Want to support the work? Put a little something in the Venmo. But until next time, Skol, production value.